Give me 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Gotcha. Welcome to OkState Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in. Joined by Chase Wetwiska as we chew on a loss last week in the last home game against Texas Tech. A typical OSU Texas Tech game, Chase.
Yeah, it was a shootout. Lack of defense, which is not surprising on our part. Texas Tech's defense isn't very good either. So it was honestly, it was a fun game to watch. There was a lot of creativity shown by Casey Dunn, which was nice. And that's another one I'm talking about, just enough to keep his job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just wish if he could fire out more games like that throughout the season consistently, he would be a really good offensive coordinator. And I don't think many fans would have an issue with him. But it's just the inconsistencies and things like that. You in my opinion, you go into every game, and it's like, man, I got nothing to lose. Why not have that kind of mentality as opposed to being super conservative and, I don't want to mess up. Because usually when you think about messing up or thinking about trying not to mess up, that's when you mess up.
Yeah. Playing not to lose.
Exactly. So I liked the aggression. I liked the the creativity. All that stuff shown by the offense. The defense still sucks. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't expect anything
closer.
less. Yeah. I mean,
it felt like they had a chance at least to stop them a couple of times. It just didn't.
Yeah, they can't get off the field on third down, and they can't stop the big play. And I don't know if it's scheme. I really don't know. I don't know if it's scheme. They're bad tacklers. There's just a whole lot of not good going on with the defense right now. But I do want to give it up to the offense, man. They scored 48 points. The Smith kid looked really good. Yeah. In my opinion.
So did Rodney Fields.
Yeah. I mean,
the young receivers. I mean, there's some good young players in this program.
The future is really bright for Oklahoma State if they can retain them. One thing that I sit there and I'm thinking about, I'm just like, Oklahoma State hadn't scored 48 points all year, and they did it with a freshman quarterback. So genuinely and truly, how bad is Alan Bowman? I mean, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but seriously, how bad is he? Because it was nice to see a freshman with a little bit of fire and a little bit of something to prove, as opposed to a lackadaisical, don't give a crap kind of attitude that's leading your offense.
It's the not to lose thing. I think Alan Bowman has played all year not to lose.
Well, and he's done a horrible job of it because we won 3 games. But we
won 2 games. No, we won 2 games. Arkansas gave us that one game.
That's
right?
100% true.
We just didn't lose that game, and then they did.
No, I just sit there and think, like, I don't know what went on in practice. I don't know if I have no idea, because you have a freshman quarterback that ran circles around what Bowman did all year. Rangel ran circles around what Bowman did all year. When he was playing, I still am excited to see Flores. I think he's going to be good. You have 3 good quarterbacks, good. And I didn't think this until after this season got going and we got to see him. I was I was really impressed with the Smith kid, and then what Rangel did against BYU was really impressive. So. I'm not on the train of, if you can't find somebody better in the portal, then go get them. I don't have an issue with that, truly, just because that's where we're at in college football today. So if you can find a stud quarterback, then sure. Why not?
A stud. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, don't go get another Alan Bowman. Don't get a guy that's mediocre.
Just a guy. Yeah. Don't go get Drew Brown.
Yeah, there's no need for that, because you have 3 guys on campus right now, which Mike Gundy said he plans on retaining as far as he knows. And I think he would know otherwise if there was something happening. You have 3 guys on campus that are capable of leading you to a couple wins. Not a couple wins, a winning season, in my opinion. I think they're in a good spot. I really do.
Yeah, it's amazing how bad this season's gone. But honestly, just kind of how excited I am leaving the season, thinking about the prospects. If we can keep all the guys that we need to keep and add, there is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the roster goes when you see these young kids play. And to be honest with you, Chase, this is all we were asking for as a fan base, is give us something to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, after watching the Texas Tech game, and the expectations were low and everything like that, but that was probably the most fun I've had watching Oklahoma State football. since BYU,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then before BYU, I don't know if I really had much fun watching them outside of South Dakota State. Because I don't think they played very good against Arkansas. They didn't play great against Tulsa. I mean, and it's Tulsa. I mean, who cares?
Whatever. I mean, that game just is whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably the most fun I've had watching Oklahoma State outside of BYU this season.
Yeah.
And it does give us something to look forward to. I'm more excited about next season now after seeing what I saw on Saturday. And the defense, it truly can't get any worse because they are literally the worst in college football. So there's the upside of that. But then, like I said, you got offensive weapons that with Rodney Fields, you got it with the Smith kid, you got Flores, and you got Rangel. You got three quarterbacks, which I really hope we don't see a 3-man rotation starting next year, but I bet we do. Yeah. Unless somebody does something fantastic during the spring or whatever. But, they have young wide receivers, and they always go and get good wide receivers in the portal too. I think offensively they're going to be okay. The line, you have to replace the line. It's not anything that's super special, but they have been in the system for a long time. So you can't. They
had a good game Saturday. They did. That offensive line blocked their asses off. There's no other two ways to put it. Joe Michalski had the bad snaps, and those were huge. You can't overlook those.
Right.
Those factor in, but as far as the blocking goes, they were great Saturday night.
That's the best I've seen them play all year, in my opinion. And those guys aren't irreplaceable. They're not like super, super special is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
but they are good. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not good. That's kind of how I felt about them. If you take the season as a whole, there were some games where they were horrible. And they're Texas Tech. They were really good. BYU, they were pretty good. So, I mean, if they spit out just about as many good performances as they did bad. And they had one great performance, which was on Saturday, in my opinion. Ollie Gordon, man, what a guy! He ran like the old Ollie.
He did.
And I think it came with a lot of confidence. I think that with the bye week and everything like that, I don't know if they put different schemes in. If he just realized that the more he's patient,
yes, correct.
The more he's patient, the more holes he's going to find. And
I've been saying that all year.
Yes. And what I think his mentality was before all of this. It was like, man, I'm getting hit in the backfield constantly. So he's like, I've got to make things happen. I've got to get out of the backfield. I've got to get out of the backfield. But he showed a lot of patience on Saturday and was able to do a lot more. So, the difference. You know the difference.
What's that? Backside 9 tech can't blow up the mesh point because you have a quarterback that can pull the ball and make that and burn that backside 9 tech. It's literally that simple. In that zone scheme.
Yeah, and you have three quarterbacks that can kind of hurt you with their legs too. Yep. You didn't have that.
But what I liked about Smith is his pocket presence. Yes, we know about the legs, but he was great in the pocket, dude.
He was really good.
It's not like he's just a runner that you're going to have to run the ball a whole lot and set up wide open passes for him. He went through some progressions. Yeah. He did a lot of impressive things.
He looked really good. I can honestly and truly say that. And I know what we've had the past 2 years is not very good, but if any of these three guys are our starting quarterback, I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'll be able to live with it because I don't think any of them are going to be worse or even as bad as Bowman, in my opinion. They all three can run a little bit. I would assume Flores can run. I've heard he can run. I haven't seen it, but nobody else has either.
Yeah, right.
And then Rangel, go back to BYU, he showed that he can run the ball. Smith can run the ball. But I was surprised that you mentioned pocket presence. He seemed really mature on Saturday, especially for a true freshman. He got newcomer of the week, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And it's not against a god-awful Texas Tech team. Texas Tech, I think, is they're 7-4 or something like that.
Yeah, their pass defense is horrendous, though. I mean, their pass defense is horrendous.
They are, but I'm saying he didn't do it against the Tulsa. He didn't do it against the BYU. He did it against a conference opponent.
Correct. Good point.
So that's take it with what you will. But I think that he was probably the the most fun to watch on Saturday. It was really, really, really nice to see Rashad Owens play, and kind of took me back to last year, when he was a dude, and Brennan Presley.
And how much does he bring an edge to this offense too? Just his energy when he's going, right?
Yeah. And you kind of wonder where that's been.
Who knows, man?
I'm asking, I'm not making a statement. Do you think it has to do with who was leading the offense?
Yes. I think not Casey Dunn. I mean, we're calling the same plays. I think it's Alan Bowman not throwing him the ball.
I do too. And it was a different mentality. It was a different edge.
Yeah.
Guys rallied behind Malalaki Smith. Guys rally behind Garrett Rangel, and I've never seen them rally behind Alan Bowman. So
I would agree.
I don't know what goes on in practice. I don't know what goes on in the locker room. I think that some of the comments that he's made in the media have really rubbed his teammates the wrong way.
It rubbed me wrong. It did rub me wrong. Matter of fact, I posted on his Instagram just to be transparent about it. And it wasn't like, hey, screw you or anything like that. It was like, oh, wait a minute, man. People have a right to want to return on their investment here. You're getting paid a lot of money to feel sorry for yourself, right? I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely. So you wonder what's been said in the locker. Like if he's making those comments, public, what is being said in the locker room? What's his attitude like in the locker room and stuff like that? That concerned me a while ago, and now it's really showing. I mean, it's bringing light to the whole situation because whenever he wasn't the starting quarterback, whenever he wasn't playing quarterback, the team got better.
It did.
The team as a whole got better.
Yeah.
So it was like, what really was going on? You know, how good of a leader was he? How, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And I think, somebody says this on the radio. It was Traber. Traber says, everybody in the locker room and everybody that's around the program knows who's the best. Everybody knows who's better.
The players
than who.
know better than anybody. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I think that there were legitimately 3 quarterbacks that were behind Alan Bowman that were better than he was.
Yeah.
And that's hard to rally behind. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can understand it. I mean, hell, we made the Big 12 championship last year. We beat OU. He had to be the starter coming in, right?
Sure.
And then we beat Arkansas. He makes the big pass to Brennan Presley, and we go 3-0. He has to be the quarterback coming out of those 3 games, right? And then Gundy actually pulled him in the very first conference game. Remember that? I mean, so I think that right there, when he pulled him at the Utah game, kind of went to show coming in. I think all Oklahoma State fans were like, what? I mean, we just made it to the Big 12 title game. We just beat OU. We're 3-0. I mean, I know the Arkansas game was rough and all that, but wow, that's kind of bold taking him out right there. And then Rangel didn't look very good. So to be honest with you, I know people think that we should have inserted a quarterback sooner, but when you just kind of look at the way it went, I mean, when Garrett Rangel came in against Utah, he sucked, point blank. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
So there's no way as a coach at that point you can evaluate, we've lost 1 game in conference. We're in the Big 12 title game last year. It was against Utah, who's like ranked number 5 in the country right now. Screw it. We're going to throw in Zane Flores. I mean, there's absolutely no way you can make that decision. There's no way you can say that Garrett Rangel is better than Alan Bowman at that point. So you got to write it out, right? Yeah. And then they wrote it out until they got to the BYU game, and then he put in Garrett Rangel, right? I mean, so to be honest with you, I know from an optics perspective, it feels like we should have been playing somebody else all last year. But when you actually break down the nitty-gritty of it, it was handled properly. I mean, it was just kind of a bad situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I mean, I think the frustration, it came from outside of Tulsa. I don't recall a game that he played well. I don't think he played that well against Arkansas.
Right, but he got pulled. What I'm saying is he got pulled in the Utah game. Yeah. And if Garrett Rangel would have came out and played like he did against BYU, against Utah, it would have been Katie bar the door. Garrett Rangel would have been the quarterback for the remainder of that game and the rest of the season. So Coach Gundy gave Garrett Rangel a chance to take over the starting quarterback position for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and he knows better than anybody else does because he played that position. But it's really hard to come in relief as a quarterback. You know, you don't get
somebody else's game plan.
You don't get very many snaps during practice, and that's just reality of it. You don't get as many reps during practice. You are running more of an Alan Bowman offense than what benefits your play. And at that point, you're already getting beat, you know? So it's like, man, if I don't bring our guys back, you know, I'm not going to look very good. Yeah. So then you try to press and you try to do things that really nobody can do. You know, you're like, oh man, I've got to prove myself. And that's really hard to do. So that benefit of the doubt goes to him.
So you're correct on all that. You know what my response to that would be?
What's that?
Tough shit. That's the chance you got. Go make the most out of it. Or don't be the starting quarterback. I mean, that's the situation we're in.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean that's fair.
That's the bottom line of competitive athletics to me. Yes, you are correct. All of that situation was tough. He was running Alan Bowman's style of offense. He probably wasn't being given very good plays, the same way Alex Cate wasn't, right? That first half when they didn't play Brandon Whedon. But bottom line is, this is the chance you were given. This is it. You got to do something with it, right? I mean, that would be my response to that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you do have to be ready to stay ready, you know, and it's just hard. I mean, you know, but life's hard. I mean,
sometimes life isn't fair. You got to make your own way, right? Even when it's not fair, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was this season as a whole has just it's been tough. You know, it's been a tough season altogether. It's been tough on the players. It's been tough on coaches. It's been tough on fans. It's been tough on everybody, you know? So, you know, that whole quarterback situation really just, it's the exact same way the whole season's gone. It's just been like crap, you know?
I just don't see where he fumbled the actual decision making of it. I don't see any other time he could have, where he took too long to put the next guy in. I don't see that myself.
No, I don't either. I do wonder if he could have pulled him against Kansas State a little earlier. He did not play good against Kansas State at all.
There you go. That's fair.
You know, so switch him at half. You know, switch him at halftime.
That's totally fair.
And I think that's another easier situation. You know, you switch at halftime. You're like, hey, you're going to be our starting quarterback for the second half of the game. You know, and you make adjustments at halftime. You know, you change up the offense just a little bit, and it's not install; it's just different play calls.
So let me counter that. Or you wait till you're at home against the worst pass defense maybe in the United States of America, and you set him up for success instead of putting him out there like Garrett Rangel did and setting him up for failure.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the counter to that, right?
that's fair too. You know, I just think. His play was so bad against Kansas State, and then you have Ollie who's just popping off. Yeah. But then they shut him down and they stopped giving him the football. Yeah. You know, so even I don't know, you know, and that's a Casey Dunn. Like, what the heck are you doing, man? He ran for 70-something yards in the first quarter and he gets the ball 3 more times the rest of the game. That doesn't make any sense. But then he does what he does against Texas Tech. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. This is the problem you got with Casey Dunn, right? So the 2 games to where he actually had a non-Alan Bowman quarterback starting the game, correct? Meaning he had a mobile quarterback. Mm-hmm. Were those pretty good on offense?
Pretty good. Pretty decent.
So, I mean, the 2 games that Alan Bowman wasn't the quarterback, Casey Dunn was fantastic. BYU and Utah. Alan Bowman's not coming back. So with the quarterbacks that Oklahoma State has coming back, Casey Dunn has proven he can call a fantastic game with their skill sets. How do you push back against that?
I don't disagree. I mean, he's still in. This is going back to when he was kind of newer to Oklahoma State. He still threw out some clunkers when Spencer Sanders was your quarterback. And I don't know if you're going to find much of a better athlete than Spencer Sanders as your quarterback. I mean, obviously you can, but do they come to Oklahoma State? Maybe not. You know, that's just
Sanders
reality
is a
of the
dude,
situation.
Man. He was the Texas Gatorade Player of the Year. He's a dude, man.
Yeah. And how often do you get those guys? Not very often. You know, should you absolutely?
Well, I think he was the highest ranked quarterback Oklahoma State's ever recruited.
He was. He was good.
I think he is. Don't quote me on that, but I really think I'm right on that.
Yeah, and all that. You know, he still threw out some bad games when Spencer Sanders was your quarterback, and I wonder how much of that was covered up by Spencer Sanders' athletic ability and talent, But at the same time, if you look at what he's done, Casey Dunn has done this year with not Alan Bowman as your quarterback, he's been pretty good, So again, I was on the fire Dunn train, and I'm still not against it, but if we're going to get rid of one coordinator, please let it be Nardo. Please, and if it's not, that doesn't make any sense. Now, if you fire both, okay, so we live with it and we move on. But please fire Nardo. I mean, please.
Well, here's my not pushback. I can't argue any of that, okay? But how does this young D2 coordinator? Of course, it's because he's the coordinator. I'm not stupid enough to not think that. But I guess kind of my point is, how is Dan Hammerschmidt, Tim Duffy, and all these experienced coaches on the defensive side of the ball that have way more experience than he did, that were part of the decision to go back to a 40 front that has been disastrous for OSU, okay? How are they? I mean, so why are they getting a pass on this? I mean, one of the biggest parts of this is that our freaking corners and safeties will not turn around and find the ball, right? Yeah. I have a hard time blaming that on the defensive coordinator. That's a position coach's problem, right? Sure. I mean, the position coaches are the ones that are supposed to teach all the intricate techniques and details, right? The coordinator kind of puts it all together, and then you have those. That's why you have those individual breakout sessions, because then you go work on turning around, find the ball, the Oski drills, all that kind of stuff. So why in the hell are all these experienced guys getting a pass, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm to the point now to where it's like, fire the whole defensive staff. I mean, the whole staff, just get rid of them. I
like Joe Bob Clements, although the linebackers weren't very good this year.
They weren't, but you do lose a Nick Martin. I mean, you can go back and forth with it, but you still got to have guys that can play after him. I have kind of been disappointed in Justin Wright.
He's just injured, Coach.
I had higher hopes, I think.
Coach, we have two linebackers on the field. When you have two linebackers on the field, and one of them is Jeff Roberson, which I love, but he's not nearly the type of athlete to cover the ground.
No.
Him and Justin Wright on the field at the same time with just two linebackers. There's no way with two linebackers they are athletic enough together to cover the amount of ground that a 4-2-5 is going to ask them to cover. I'm telling you, I've been telling you all year, you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Now, if you have a Nick Martin, okay, a guy that can literally play all, whatever it is, 55 yards of sideline to sideline of the field, and he can play the spy like you had Jeff Robertson do in the BYU game on the big run by Retzloff, or on the third down and 11 run by Baron Morton, where Jeff Robertson was. If that guy's Nick Martin, okay. But the linebackers you had available, okay, they were not athletic enough to play a two linebacker system and cover sideline to sideline. We saw that over and over and over.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And what I wonder why they didn't move Kendall Daniels, to be honest with you, because
he needs to be a rush in, man. He needs to be on the end, and he needs to be rushing the quarterback.
Yes, but you don't have a very I'm not downplaying these guys, but you don't have a very athletic linebacker, and you have to have an athletic linebacker with the defense that you're running, just like you said.
Yeah, but Kendall Daniels doesn't chase anything down, man. I mean, you know that. He's athletic, but he doesn't run anything down sideline to sideline. I mean, Nick Martin's a hit stick, right? I mean, that's not Kendall Daniels.
No, I'm just saying with speed, that was probably your next best option. So I don't know necessarily why they didn't do it. I mean,
they talk about a linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, it's all hindsight. It is what it is. And I have a bad feeling about Friday. I'm I like Colorado. I'm not gonna lie, I do. Outside of Oklahoma State, they're probably the team that I've watched the most all of college football season, just because they're an intriguing team to watch. I like Deion. I like the quarterback. I like Travis Hunter. I mean, that team's a fun team to watch. Yeah. And they're really good. So I'm kind of scared to see if Texas Tech put up 56 points, Colorado might score 100 points. I mean, I'm kind of scared to see how bad it's going to be defensively. Now, offensively, I have hope. I have hope that Smith goes in and plays well, and Ollie goes in probably his last game at Oklahoma State and plays really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did find intriguing, and I think he's just answering it politically correct, but they asked him if this was his last game at Boone Pickens, and he said, I don't know. So I don't know
I'll
what
have to talk to my family and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
that's the telltale. Usually, yes, I'm leaving.
It was probably just a politically correct answer, but I mean, maybe I'll hold on to just a teeny bit of hope. I don't know.
But if he's coming back and he knows that he would have said it, that's what they say. Hell yeah, I'm coming back. Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, this season's been tough. I think it's in his best interest to go to the NFL, unless his draft stock has just completely plummeted, which I don't think it should have.
Well, and what if I asked you this, Chase? I mean, at this point, can't he do Oklahoma State more good in the NFL than he can here? Because if he comes back, we win, say, 6 or 7 games. Okay, great. I think we can win 6 or 7 games with the running backs we have coming back. But if he goes to the NFL and he reps Oklahoma State, right, and every time you turn on the screen, it's Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, and he gives you an OSU after a touchdown or something like that, to me, that markets the program better than what he can maybe even do on the field next year. Yeah, that's kind of a weird take, but whatever.
I'm such a big fan of his that I hate to see him go, but I'm probably going to buy his jersey on whichever team he goes to the NFL in, to be honest. And I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, so I just hope it's not like the Giants or the Eagles or something. But or Washington for that matter. I don't want him to go to the NFC East unless it's for the Cowboys. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his, so I think it's in his best interest to go. Just leave, because not only is he going to represent Oklahoma State in a good way in the NFL, but I mean, God forbid he gets hurt or banged up or something, and then he doesn't get that opportunity. That would make me sick. It really would. So I do think it's best for him to go. I did look. Trent Howland is available to come back.
Yeah, right.
That's exciting. I hope he does.
You got thunder and lightning with him in Fields, no doubt. And then you got the Arkansas transfer. I think his last name's Green. He's really good too. So
he's really
running
fast.
Back room set, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what Sessy's going to do. He's okay, but I think Rodney Fields is much better, and I think Trent Howland is much better.
Yeah. Especially with a running quarterback. If you have a running quarterback that can run wide, Trent Howland's really good.
Trent Howland kind of reminds me of a Jalen Warren, kind of a smaller, not really smaller.
Reminds me of a
he's
Chris Carson type.
He's a stockier. He's a much stockier running back. And then you've got Rodney Fields, who's a smaller, more elusive back that can make you miss. But he also has a little bit of power. He'll put the shoulder down.
No, he's got a lot of power, dude. His burst is legit.
No, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah,
so
good.
I hope we retain at least Howland and Rodney Fields, which I would think Rodney Fields would stay. I mean, Gundy came out and said I wanted the redshirt him, but I just can't. He's too good to redshirt at this point.
So he can't redshirt.
No, I lied. He can redshirt, and that's why they didn't play him earlier.
Correct. I was going to say he'd only played in 2 games, and so they waited till the last 2 games to put him in.
Yeah, that was the explanation. Is he wanted to redshirt him, which is why he didn't play the first couple of games.
Yes. Well, no, Rodney. That was Rodney's decision.
It was.
Mike Gundy wanted to play him every game. And Rodney was like, Coach, I want a red shirt, which keeps his options open for 4 more years of college, right? Which makes him more attractive.
I didn't know that. I thought it was more of a coaching staff decision, but whatever. I mean, I'm happy that he gets to come back again and hopefully play here for 3 or 4 more years. But we'll see what happens. But the running back room looks really good for next year. All that to be said.
Good thing about Rodney Fields Jr., his coach at Del City, Robert Jones. Played for OSU in the early 2000s. So
it plays in our benefit. And he's from Oklahoma, so there's a sense of pride there and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And he's awesome, man. He will be loved at OSU. Rodney, if you're watching this show, you're going to be loved at OSU. Stay here, dude.
Yeah, please stay here. And he has big shoes to fill with Ollie leaving, but I think, I don't know, he's capable of doing a lot of good here, in my opinion. And so your quarterback room looks pretty good. Your running back room looks pretty good. You're going to lose some receivers, but you do have Gavin Freeman, who I think is going to fill the Brennan Presley spot.
Yes.
Because they're very similar in type of play. They're
Cameron Hurd.
They're small and they're super fast. So you lose Brennan Presley. He's irreplaceable. I mean, to say the least. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's really good. But Gavin Freeman is a nice guy to have come behind him, and I saw that Oklahoma State offered Presley's youngest brother, which I really hope he comes here. I think that'd be cool. Yeah. OU offered him. Several other schools offered him, so I don't know what he's going to do. I hope he comes here. But yeah, I mean, the receiver room looks pretty good, and I think they're going to get some portal guys. Offensive line, you've got to figure it out.
Yep.
You got Josh Ford coming back, which is great. Really good tight end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huge.
The defensive side, you're going to lose Oliver. You're going to lose Martin, and the rest, you do whatever you want with them. I don't care. I think that if you can find anybody on the defensive side of the ball that can come in and start for you today or yesterday, then you take them, and just see what you can come up with. But there's a lot of upside, and there's a lot to look forward to in terms of next season, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. He's a redshirt junior, Nick Martin is, so he can come back to Oklahoma State.
I don't think he will.
You think he's big enough to play in the NFL and go early like that? Or you think he's going to go somewhere else?
No, I think he has a chance to go to the NFL.
Wow.
Do I think he's going to play linebacker? Probably not. Unless they say, hey, man, we're going to bring you in and put, another 25, 30 pounds on you. I could see him being more of a safety type of player. I don't know how good his coverage skills are, but he's really fast and he's physical.
But is an NFL team going to take him early to know that they have to move? He's not plug and play. They have to move him and figure out a new position for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because I think he can. And people overlook this side of the game, but I think he could also wreak absolute havoc on special teams. Yeah. So I don't know.
Deshaun Stribling is only a junior too. I messed that up the other day, so he could come back if he wants, which would be huge.
That would be great. Well, what is Rashad Owens? Is he senior?
Yeah, Rashad Owens is gone. Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but
yeah, he's good.
I would hope Stribling comes back. Like I said, you still got Freeman, who redshirted this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. Smart move.
Yeah, absolutely, because you have a Presley, and I guarantee you the conversation went like, I don't know which side it was on, but if it was Freeman, it's like, Coach, you got Presley. I'm similar to his type of play. Unless he gets hurt, please redshirt me. And then vice versa is like, hey, we got Presley. We want you to fill his shoes for the next 2 years. Please
Freeman's
redshirt.
Pretty smart. Freeman's a smart dude too. He probably didn't say it out loud, but he's like, this season ain't going nowhere. So I'm not wasting my red shirt year on this, right? Yeah. Especially when I already know they have Presley. So I think that fit all those factors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so that I hope Nick Martin comes back. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't. If he can go to the NFL.
It's going to depend on what they build around him, man.
Yeah. If he can go to the NFL.
What they can sell him. Then, like, here's our plan, Nick. Here's what we're going to do. Now, can you sell them on that? I mean, and there's a lot of layers of that. First of all, what are you going to do with your defensive coordinator? What are you going to do with your position coach? I mean, there's so many different layers of that.
Now, do you have a conversation with him if you're Mike Gundy and say, what do we need to do to keep you?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't
Nick Martin is not just a special player. He's like a special player. Like that Arkansas game, they track like the amount of energy it took to execute everything
crazy.
He did.
I heard about that.
It's like the most amount of energy that anybody had ever exerted since they've been tracking that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 times.
Yeah.
Like that was straight out of Mike Gundy's mouth in the post game conf. No, Nick Martin is a guy that you do. I mean, if he tells you, Coach, I want to see you do 10 cartwheels. Okay, give me about a week and let me lose about 50 pounds, and I'm going to do 10 cartwheels, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On Main Street if I have to, right?
No, shirtless. I mean,
with no shirt, yeah.
But no, I mean, what I'm saying is I don't want to give the players all the power, but that would be, I think I'm with you. That's a conversation that I would have. Be like, dude, what do we have to do to keep you? And behind closed doors, if you say, Coach, we got to get a new coordinator, then freaking go get a new coordinator. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Do I think he's going to come out and say that? No. But
talking about Nick, yeah.
Yeah, no. But I didn't know
he's going to say, I want to see what direction we're going with this defense. I got to see what the plan is.
Yeah, I would hope he'd come back, but if he goes to the NFL, then that's fine. I just hope that if we lose good players, it's to the NFL and not to the portal. That's my only hope.
Not to Mississippi State.
Right.
Or Colorado, like we did DJ McKinney.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
So like I said,
or Caleb Etienne, who's at BYU having a better year than he would have had here, right? That kind of thing.
Well, then you also lost what's his face? He's at TCU now as receiver.
Yeah, John Paul Richardson.
Yeah, really, he was really good here.
But we have Brendan Presley. That didn't hurt though. I mean, whatever.
No, I mean he'd have been still a nice guy to have in the other slot.
He felt like one of the malcontents, though. That just wasn't happy with the way things are going. When I say malcontent, that's way too negative. That's a player's prerogative. If this isn't going the way you like it, this is hey, listen, you only get one college career, man. You only get to do this one time. And one of the cool things about getting to talk to all these guys, I talked to 4 different Oklahoma State guys for interviews yesterday, including like Terrence Richardson and Paul Duran and Billy Stone. Okay, they love their time here at Oklahoma State. They could not be more proud of the relationships that they still have today, the brotherhoods they created. So I only say that to say you only get to do this college thing one time.
Right.
So I will never look down on a kid that is looking to get his college experience correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I don't know who he grew up liking, but I do know he's from the DFW area, so he's really close to home now.
Well, his dad went to A&M, so.
Okay. I mean,
Lucky Richardson, yeah.
He's probably not good enough to play at A&M, so.
He's pretty good.
He's close to home is what I'm saying. He's in. So that good for him. I'm just saying he would have been a nice guy to have still with us, still around.
He wouldn't have made any difference on this offense.
You don't think so?
No. Brendan Presley got all those catches.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
Rashad Owens couldn't even get a ball. Deshaun Stribling went like 5 weeks, and we're all like, dude, where is this guy at, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You think J.P. Richardson would have just jumped over all those guys?
No, I mean, a lot of that has to do with the quarterback play.
That's what I'm trying to say, and just the style of offense you're running at that time,
Yeah, I just think he was a good talent. I mean, he was a good guy to have.
Player and a good dude. I have no ill will to him. Go get your college experience the way that you want to remember it. I have no problem with that.
I just used him as an example. Like he was a good player when he was here, and then he left.
DJ McKinney's that example to me. He goes to Colorado, which is probably a step down, and I think there's a sentiment there like leaving OSU is like the best thing I ever did, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that like, that's I'm not sure about that, right? That kind of thing. Like what's going on here?
It's just, I mean, it would be really hard to say no to Deion Sanders. It'd be hard to say no to his environment and what they have to offer. And Boulder is really pretty. I mean, it's a really pretty place.
It's also cold.
It's really cold. Yeah. I hope
you can have the mountains and the hard breathing and all that. I would take the better weather all day.
But
if I'm a transfer portal guy and I have a choice between Arizona State and Colorado, that's not even close, in my opinion.
If you take coaches out of it, I mean,
yeah, right, exactly.
If you take coaches out of it, if you're taking environments,
yeah.
But I hope it snows on Friday. I think that'd be just icing on the cake. It'd be fun. It'd just be fun to watch. It'd be fun to watch.
Could be.
Yeah, but I don't know what's going to go on. Do I think it's going to be pretty on Friday? No. But do I think that there's still things to look forward to? Yes.
College football.
Yeah. I agree, and Colorado just came off of a loss to Kansas, and Kansas has turned it on this last half of the year.
Yeah.
But so I wonder what Colorado team you're going to get. Are you going to get a Colorado team that is just like, well, crap, like we probably don't have a chance. I don't know if they have a chance at the Big 12 championship game. I know they don't have a chance at the playoff if they don't.
And if
get
they
into the Big 12
don't, and you're
championship
Travis
game.
Hunter, do you play?
I would play. I would.
Well, I know you would. But if you're him, I mean, he's a diva. I mean, he's got a coach that's a diva. His coach would tell him, hey, go get your bag, dude. Don't worry about this meaningless game against some team from the middle of a pasture in Oklahoma. That's what Deion Sanders, I think, would tell him.
See, I think the opposite. I think that Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders have a father-son relationship. And I think
he'd tell his own kid that. Go get your bag.
Well, see, I think Deion still has pride, in going about his day, going about games and things like that. So I think if anything, it would be almost the opposite. Like, hey, man, finish out what you started kind of deal. And I get where you're coming from too. because those are two really high draft picks next year. I mean, and seriously, they're really
good. They have
good.
a lot of money to lose if they get hurt against OSU in the snow.
Yeah, no, I don't think that he would be an advocate for them sitting out. Do I think?
I think he'd tell them, hey, you're a corporation now. You are a business. Travis Hunter is a brand. Protect the brand.
I get it. We'll agree to disagree on that one.
That's a good conversation.
Neither of us know that guy. No. I mean, we see media and we see things like that. I mean, just for the record, I think he's one of the greatest athletes to ever play any game.
Dion?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's why it works.
Between him and Bo Jackson, I mean, those two guys were.
But that's why it works, Coach, because he was that guy. And so, like, Travis Hunter, like, knows he was that guy.
Right.
So it's like when Dion talks, you have to listen because he was that guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think that Dion cares too much about his Colorado. I think he has a lot of pride in how he goes about things, and I think he has a lot of pride in how his players act and things like that. Now, do they play with edge? Do they play with a little bit of fire? Do they play with a little bit of almost like diva-like play? Yeah. Yes. But it also plays to their advantage. You know, that's how they play football.
It has to this point, yeah.
And that's their character, and that's how they – I don't have any issue with it. I really don't.
Right. I don't either. If you don't like it, beat them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it, but that's their game. Yeah. Don't take their game away from them.
My only thing about that is I'm curious to see the longevity of it. How long does that work?
Yeah.
It's great when you have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and everything's new and everything's exciting. The longevity of it, how does that work, you know?
But does he even stay? Does he go to the NFL with his kid?
That's what I'm trying to say. The whole thing.
I don't know. Personally, I would love for Shedeur to take over the quarterback spot with the Dallas Cowboys. I'd like Dion to take over the head coaching spot with the Dallas Cowboys.
That's awesome.
I think Dak is extremely overpaid. I think he's good, but I think he's overpaid. Right. And then it can't get any worse than Mike McCarthy. I mean, he's terrible.
He was good at Green Bay, dude.
Well, for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then he just fell off the face of the earth. You know, but no, I mean, all that to be said, I just, if Dion stays at Colorado, I think that they're going to be contenders for as long as he's there. You know, just because like he said, he's an attractive person to go play for, you know,
absolutely.
And he lets his guys play, and he's a really, really, really good promoter.
Well, don't you want to play for a winner?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a winner.
He is absolutely a winner, right?
Yeah. He also, like I said, he's a good promoter. He's in with the times. You know, he puts their hashtag or their Instagram and Twitter names on the back of their practice jerseys. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's just little stuff like that. People are going to pour money into the program. All their players are going to get nice NIL. Yep. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that.
His philosophy is, it's like in baseball. Hey, if I'm selfish and I go 4 for 4, that helps the team, right? Mm-hmm. So if Travis Hunter, selfish is probably the wrong word, but the better of a individual player Travis Hunter becomes, the better the team of Colorado is, because they have a better player on their hands. That's the way Deion Sanders sees that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think that he would be an advocate to say, hey, sit out your last regular season game, especially with it being a home game. You know, they're also playing at Colorado. If they're playing at Oklahoma State, maybe something different.
So Deion Sanders walks out to a torn ACL or a dislocated this or that, and Travis Hunter now is not going to get drafted in the next NFL draft.
I don't think that there's anything that could happen to Travis Hunter that's going to prevent him from going high in the NFL draft, just because he is a true, like he is true. There's nobody like him. You know, there's nobody.
So let me ask you this:
plays.
If he doesn't play, is he going to get highly drafted?
Yes,
absolutely, he is.
Yes.
So literally the only way he couldn't get drafted high, what you're saying is if he goes out and has a massive injury that nobody knows how he's going to recover from.
See,
that's literally the only way that he can hurt his stock for the future.
I think that he would still get drafted really high just because of how good of a talent and how rare of a talent he is.
There's a lot of talented players on earth, Jason.
Yeah, well, no, I understand, but you get a guy that is. Yeah.
I'm just saying that's the only chance it doesn't happen. So why take that only chance if the game doesn't matter? So
that's fair. But like I said, it's probably their last game at Colorado. It's their last game in the stadium. It's their last game with Deion, unless he goes to the NFL with them. I think they both play, and I think that it would be dumb if they didn't. My opinion, you know, we can agree to disagree, but I mean, I hope they play just because I want to watch them play one more time. Yeah. I think that's going to be fun. But
I totally agree.
I'm excited to see the interaction between Gundy and Dion. I think that's just going to be funny because it's two very, in my opinion, very different but similar.
Gundy's not as Gundy's got a lot of that in him. Gundy's got that swag to him, just like Dion does, man. It just comes out different in terms of his day-to-day operations. I'm telling you, man. Gundy's got that swag. If you ever meet him, if you knew him when he was 20 years old, he's got that same swag. It just comes out different.
Well, I said different but similar.
Okay, my bad. Let me be quiet.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
In the way that, yes, they are both kind of arrogant. They are both very confident. And when I say arrogant, I don't mean in a negative term. I mean it as
me too.
I'm
just
really
like my hot
confident.
take.
I'm really confident in what I do. I know that I'm really good at what I do. All this stuff.
You can kiss my ass. This is what I'm going to do. Like it or not, I don't care.
But you have kind of redneck Mike Gundy, and then you have super flashy Deion Sanders. It'll be a fun interaction to watch, in my opinion. I think it'll be kind of funny. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, me too. Hey, this has been an awesome conversation, man. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.